News Voice is the world's first mobile app that helps you track where your news is coming from. News Voice helps you track what corporate interests might be influencing the narratives in the news you read every day. Arm yourself against corporate media monopolies by downloading the News Voice app for free using the link right underneath this video. Okay, so yesterday, Donald Trump had a rally indoors at a megachurch in Arizona. You might be wondering, wait a second, let me check my notes. Arizona is one of the worst case growth coronavirus hotspots in the world, never mind the country. Is that the right place to have a big indoor rally? And you would be right to ask that question. Arizona is the state, indeed, with the largest percentage case increase in the last week or so. Cases up 48% in the last 8 days in Arizona. Cases just spiking hugely. So what does the president do? He holds a rally indoors at a huge church in Arizona. Now, before we even go further, people have been emailing me saying, how can a church hold a campaign event? Churches are given nonprofit tax exempt status in exchange for not doing politics. Churches aren't allowed to do politics. And here they are hosting a Trump campaign event. And I agree. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, what we do know is that the rules against churches doing politics are rarely enforced. It is very rare that a church will actually be punished for doing politics, despite churches doing politics being banned. So I just don't have an answer. It's just we have no accountability. Now, faced with questions about the prudence, I'm not sure. Based on the questions about the wisdom of doing this rally in Arizona, given that cases are exploding in Arizona, the CFO of Dream City Church, this was held at Dream City Church, and Dream City Church has a CFO named Brendan Zastrow. They posted a video saying, we've installed a new air filtration system, by the way, manufactured by one of our congregants, and it kills 99.9% of coronavirus. Now, health experts and anybody with common sense immediately said that's not true. That's an absurd claim to make. Arizona State University scientists said it's an absurd claim to make. Quote, Matthew Scotch warned, quote, this is absurd and will not protect you. But here's the church saying that this is the situation. They've got a great air filtration system that will kill coronavirus. Take a look.
COVID-19 here at Dream City Church. We're probably the first church in the nation to...
Yeah, we've installed Clean Air EXP. We have a local Arizona company. It was technology developed by some members of our church. And we've installed these units, and it kills 99.9% of COVID within 10 minutes from independent testing.
It's ionization, is that what it is?
Ionization. It's ionization of the air, and it takes particulates out, and COVID cannot live in that environment.
So when you come into our auditorium, 99% of COVID is gone, killed,
correct,
if it was there in the first place. So you can know when you come here, you'll be safe and protected. Thank God for great technology, and thank God for being proactive.
Amen.
Bless you guys.
I like how it's not ionization, it's ionization. Ionization. But it's all BS. Pronounce it however you want. It's all BS. Now, even if it were true that their ionization system kills the virus in some abstract way, if I'm standing right next to somebody and they don't have a mask and I don't have a mask, an air filtration system in the ceiling or in the walls is not actually going to protect me from the people that are right next to me without masks. So it's wildly irresponsible. It's absurd. And then there's the rally itself, which was a complete and total farcical gong show. Trump was visibly sweaty and disheveled the entire time, slurring badly, brought students up to speak during the event who were used as pathetic and horrible political props. Everything about it was horrible. Trump again going with this racist Kung Flu name for coronavirus, firing up the crowd with it. Imagine cheering for this. Take a look.
With COVID, did you ever notice? I said the other night, did anybody see my speech the other night on Saturday night? Yeah. So, what I said the other night, there's never been anything where they have so many names. I could give you 19 or 20 names for that, right? It's got all different names. Wuhan. Wuhan was catching on. Coronavirus, right? Kung flu, yeah. Kung flu.
Imagine 10 years from now, thinking back and saying, hey, remember when we went to that rally and Trump said Kung flu? Wasn't that great? I mean, the place just absolutely loved it. And that's actually, I think that, you know, the focus really should be on the number of people that love this racist Kung flu stuff. There's a lot of focus, understandably, on the fact that the president is calling it Kung flu. And there should be focus on that because we shouldn't have a president who does that. There's no question about it. But the audience was filled with people who loved it. That's the problem. Trump saying it is a problem. But if that immediately repelled people from voting for him, we would say, okay, this is a madman racist, but nobody's voting for him. The crowd loved it. The audience, if you listen to that clip, the audience was actually shouting out Kung flu. Trump started saying Wuhan virus, Chinese virus. The crowd is yelling Kung flu. They want him to say it. They're delighted by the racism of it all. And I think that we want to distribute criticism fairly. And Trump saying this would not be nearly the problem that it is were it not for the fact that huge crowds of people absolutely love it. Now, here's Donald Trump in the same rally yesterday, railing against vote by mail, saying, listen, we voted in World War I and we voted during World War II.
Absentee ballots are fine. Absentee ballots are fine. Like I live in the White House. And if I can't get to Florida, or you live wherever you live, you can't. But you have to go through a process. Some people just can't make it to a polling station, and they have good reason, but they have to go through this process in order to verify their identity. People went to the polls and voted during World War I. They went to the polls and voted during World War II. We can safely go to the polls and vote during COVID-19.
Now, what's funny about this, or scary, is that vote by mail is absentee ballots. Like Trump seems not to get it, but what we're talking about is getting everybody an absentee ballot. It's just more of them. Trump seems to imagine that if it's vote by mail, it's different than the absentee ballots that he used and that he says are okay. And then Trump raises this issue about we voted during World War I and World War II. The wars weren't contagious pandemics. And soldiers during those wars did vote by mail. So it's like a completely irrelevant claim that Donald Trump is making. Trump also, as is very common now during these rallies, particularly ones that are happening later in the day, Trump having trouble speaking. Here he is talking about America's frounders.
It's the same spirit that drove America's founders.
And then here's Donald Trump unable to say deployed. He says deplore instead.
And that's why when rioting and looting broke out in our nation's capital, I quickly deplored. I came in, I deployed the National Guard very quickly.
So it was a truly irresponsible mess. But the good news, like if there's anything even slightly reassuring about what we're seeing, is that Trump's polling is suffering very, very badly because of his handling of coronavirus. Trump is an incumbent president, 4 months out from his reelection his potential reelection, and most national polls have him polling in the 30s. Okay, that's a good sign in the sense that he's not as Teflon as he was once believed to be on race relations, on coronavirus, that new New York Times poll we talked about earlier. He's suffering badly. So even though he was able to fill a room with people cheering for Kung flu, he is suffering in the polls. We just have to see whether it holds through to November. And that's why I was very cautious earlier today when talking about polling. The good news is maybe he can't actually get away with this stuff.